So in closing, I thought as a segue, I would talk a little bit about the digital model that was made for the New Amsterdam History Center. That model, and also, I think, stepping back a little bit, the paintings that I've done of Manhattan are based on a number of key pieces of evidence. One that has been with us for a long time is this drawing that was made by Jacques Cortelyou in 1665. It's called the Castello Plan. The original is in a library in Florence, but it has an amazing amount of detail. It's hard to see in the original, although you can make out Broadway and Pearl Street. William Street, the Hanover Square painting was right in here. Here's the Wall Street, the fort. It's a great document, a wonderful document.
It will be in New York.
Yes. Oh, it will be. Oh, great. Great.
The island in the center of the world exhibition.
Oh, that's terrific.
At the South Street Seaport.
Yeah. Love to have an
Seaport Museum.
Yeah.
Another wonderful piece of information is, say his name, Charlie, Hermann August,
Augustine Hermans.
Augustine
Augustine
Hermans.
Hermans.
He made this watercolor. And as far as I could tell, this watercolor is the only image that was made of early Manhattan by someone who was actually looking at it. The art is primitive, but you can see the mill, you can see the fort, you can see the church in the fort. The development of along the East River hasn't happened yet, so Stuyvesant's house isn't here yet. But you can see those early wooden structures along there. The docks haven't even begun. There's just a small pier.
That's to pull ships up on land
to work on.
Yeah, to careen.
So we have this is a fantastic thing to refer to for information.
What year is that?
That's around 1630.
48.
48.
Around 1648.
The
Pardon?
original watercolor? I'm not sure where the original is.
It's at the library in Vienna.
Another wonderful piece of information comes from this drawing by Anthony Burgess from the early 1700s. When you examine this image closely, there are you can clearly see some of the early Dutch houses that were built along the East River, and also the remains of development just outside of the wall, where the English by this time are building ships. And later documents. This is an 1880 survey of the tip of Manhattan, which became very useful to me when I was developing the model for the History Center. Although this is oriented a little bit differently than the Castello plan, one of the things that I got from looking at this survey in 1880 is that the street pattern in this part of Manhattan very, very closely kind of continues the pattern that we see in the Castello plan. So here is a measure drawing that was made by a surveyor with instruments, and we have a way of taking the Castello plan and correcting it so that it can actually lay on the streets of Manhattan today. That's not something you can do with the Castello plan without referring to later surveys. This is a redrawn Castello plan. It was made for Stokes iconography. It was made in the early 20th century. And I'm assuming that it accurately portrays the information that's on the Castello plan. But there's Broadway. Now you can see all the buildings. You can see the architecture pretty well. And from this, although I think some of it is generic, some of it seems to be very specific. Like one of the things I noticed when I studied this plan was that there's Stuyvesant's house right there. And what was left of it could still be seen in the Burgess view in the early 1700s. The shaded area on the Costello plan, this is the area that we focused on for the initial model for the new Amsterdam History Center website. And this is what we're going to be talking about. Yes?
So they're like in that whole water, that wide area of Bowling Green.
Yes.
Would that have been rain? Would that have been mud? Or would that
This would have probably been a dirt road. One of the things that I found out about this fort is that in all likelihood, it was never really that good. The fort was in pretty bad shape all through the period that the Dutch were in charge of Manhattan. And Charlie, you like to tell the story about this area up here, Bowling Green.
Right.
Before that.
There's an elevation right there.
That was not a common area.
This, not as it would have been later, but Charlie tells a good story about people who stand here